Hello everybody, welcome back to the studio where the sound of sports is heard. I'm your host, Don Castiel, and today we're going to rank the top 10 teams in the NFL. And we are 1 week past the NFL draft, so this is a perfect time to rank the top 10 teams. So I am taking into consideration the offseason, the end of last season, and the draft. So let's jump right into it. At number 10, I have, and this might surprise some of you, the Denver Broncos. I think they will be the dark horse of the NFL. I think they'll come out of nowhere. I think Drew Lock, he proved himself to be a starting quarterback last season. I think that they brought in a lot of good weapons in Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, and they have Cortland Sutton progressing. So I think that this Denver Broncos team will be a force to be reckoned with, especially from their offense, and their defense is still good. And they also brought in Melvin Gordon, which is such an underrated move. Melvin Gordon is such a good running back, and pair him up with Phillip Lindsay. This Denver Broncos team is going to be a playoff team next season. So I can't wait to see the Denver Broncos in action next season. At number 9, I have the Philadelphia Eagles, and they've been receiving a lot of negative media the last week because of the Jalen Hurts pick. And, as they should have. That pick still isn't explained, but this team is still a top 10 team. I mean, they have improved so much from a season ago. They got new weapons for Carson Wentz. They got Darius Slay on their defense, so their defense is completely improved. They got Will Parks on their defense, so I really like Philadelphia to be a top 10 team next season. They went 9-7. They were a playoff team last year, and I think Wentz will come back, still trying to get his first playoff win. So I definitely think Philadelphia will be a top 10 team next season. At number 8, I have the Dallas Cowboys, and it was really tough for me to place the Dallas Cowboys because I definitely think they're a top 10 team if you look at their roster. But last season, I could have said the same thing. In fact, last season, I said they were a top 5 team, and they went 8-8. So it's really difficult to put the Cowboys on a ranking because, the roster doesn't translate onto the field. So I really don't know where to put the Cowboys here. So I put them at 8. I put them pretty low just because I don't want to take that risk of being wrong again. So, but besides that, I think this offense on paper is incredible. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott, a amazing wide receiver trio, and their defense is still like a force to be reckoned with. So I really like the Dallas Cowboys roster, but it's tough for me to put them higher than 8. At number 7, I have the Tennessee Titans, and this team might be the team that I might be the most wrong about, putting them here in my top 10. But I really like what they were able to do in their second half of their season and in the playoffs with Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. I just think that duo is great. A run-pass type of offense. I think their wide receivers are super underrated. I think their defense is really good. I think that their defense is super underrated. So I have Tennessee in my top 10. I could be wrong about that, but I couldn't resist to put them in my top 10. And number 6, I have the Green Bay Packers. And just like the Philadelphia Eagles, they've received a lot of negative media because of the quarterback pick they picked in the first round, Jordan Love, excuse me. And I think that if you forget that Jordan Love pick, this team is still really good. I think that Aaron Rodgers is still an elite quarterback. They still have Devontae Adams. They still have Aaron Jones. Their defense is still intact. And as long as they have Aaron Rodgers, I expect them to be a top 10 team. So I do think that the Green Bay Packers did take a step back, but they will still be a top 10 team. I fully expect them to be in the playoffs next season. At number 5, I have the Buffalo Bills. These guys are going to take a big leap from last season to this season. I mean, I think Josh Allen is only going to get better, and I think he's starting to reach his full potential. And now you give him Stephon Diggs. I love the Stephon Diggs move. I think that's one of the best moves of the offseason, even though they had to give up a first-round pick. I think he fits perfectly with Josh Allen, and I think their defense is easily top 5 in the league. So I think Buffalo is going to be a top 5 team next season. Some of you may call me crazy for saying that, but their roster is seriously incredible, and I think Josh Allen is only going to be better. At number 4, a lot of you guys are going to say I'm crazy. San Francisco 49ers. Yeah, I put them this low. A lot of you guys would put them at 2 or 3. The reason why I put San Francisco at 4 is because I'm not a huge fan of the way they run their offense, especially in the playoffs. The way that I saw it, in the conference championship, even though they completely destroyed the Packers, they just ran the ball with 3 different sets of running backs. And I just don't think that if you keep on doing that, and they did it for a full season and it was obviously successful, but I don't think that they can just keep on doing that, running rotation for every single play for 2 years in a row, and teams won't figure them out. I clearly think this team is good. I have them in my top 4. I just think that teams will start figuring out their offense. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is as good as people think he is. He had like 50 yards in the conference championship, something like that. So I'm just really not loving the San Francisco offense, but I still think it's a great team. At number 3, I have the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, I think that the Baltimore Ravens, they deserve to be a top 3 team. Especially after last season's performance, but their postseason really, really made me think, maybe the Ravens aren't as good as we think they are. I think Lamar Jackson could get figured out this season. I think he will definitely take a step back. I still think the Baltimore's defense is absolutely amazing. I love their coach. So, I definitely think Baltimore will be a top 3 team, or they at least should be a top 3 team as of now. But I definitely think Lamar Jackson will take a step back. But obviously, a top 3 team for me. At number 2, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. I can already hear you guys saying, what are you doing, Edom? Why are the Kansas City Chiefs not number 1? Well, the only reason why I don't put them at number 1 is because of who I have at number 1. The Kansas City Chiefs are a fantastic football team. Patrick Mahomes is a fantastic quarterback. Don't get me wrong. But I do have some questions about their defense. They didn't really address it too much at the draft. So, while I love the Kansas City offense, I just can't get on board with their defense, who was very inconsistent last season. Which brings me to my number 1, the New Orleans Saints. This is by far the most complete roster in the league. I feel like I've said that every year, but this year I definitely think that this is the best New Orleans Saints roster ever. Especially after adding Malcolm Jenkins, a top 5 safety in the league, especially after adding Emmanuel Sanders, a great receiver to complement Michael Thomas. I mean, this team just seems to only get better and better and better. They still have Drew Brees, who seems like he's not regressing. They still have Alvin Kamara, who's a beast. And their defense is still a great, great defense. So I really, really, really think that the Saints will be the Super Bowl champions a season from now. I mean, just their roster is just too good for them not to win at least one Super Bowl in the Drew Brees era, as of recent years. So, with my number 1, I have the New Orleans Saints. So let's recap. Number 10, I have the Denver Broncos. Number 9, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. Number 8, I have the Dallas Cowboys. Number 7, Tennessee Titans. Number 6, the Green Bay Packers. Number 5, the Buffalo Bills. Number 4, the San Francisco 49ers. Number 3, the Baltimore Ravens. Number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs. And number 1, the New Orleans Saints. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the sound of sports.